Shalom. All right. Before I get started, I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Hey, double honors unto my apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and safety to all the Sister Akyam that's out here pushing this word in truth and in all sincerity. Shalom. And shalom to you sincere sisters as well that are out there. All right, back at it again. Another early morning lesson. Just sitting in this, sitting at work. And, it's Monday morning, October, hey, shalom. This is October the 20th, actually. All right. Hey, shalom, hey, Yahweh, Shem, Yahweh, Shabbat, Shabbat, Barakatah, and Barakathum to all you sincere Akim that may tune in now or later on. All right. But, so it's Monday, October 20th, 2025. I think we're into day, like day 19 or something, day 20 of this federal government shutdown. Now, I will say I'm downtown at my job, which is down here by the federal buildings, right? So even within my own, work, I kind of bump shoulders with different, federal employees here within the city of Atlanta, right? So, it's just a spirit of sitting here watching it, watching this develop, and so on and so forth. And hey man, we just reporting, and I got an article I want to touch on. Lord willingly hit a few scriptures, just going into this because, as everybody knows, as it's getting more, the gravity of the situation is starting to increase with people. The federal government it's saying that come November 1st, that they're going to not replenish people's SNAP benefits, right? Meaning that you may have been receiving them all this year, but come November 1st, majority of people will not receive those benefits. And on top of that, there's been not military men, congressmen and women warning that this could actually lead to these benefits being basically done away with, which is going to cause great confusion, hysteria, doubts, all of those different things within the system. All right. So I had this article, and this is from CBS News. The title of it, is Government Shutdown Becomes the Third Longest in History with No End in Sight. All right. And the reason why I'm focusing on this because I was speaking to my wife the other night, maybe yesterday or the day before. And I said that basically right now, mind you, there's 11 days left in the month. All right. Or 12 days to the 1st. How about that? Everybody right now is hoping that the federal government comes to some agreement within the next 12 days to open back the doors, right? So that the funds can be released from the federal government to the state government to be given to the people, right? That's what we're waiting for. Or that's what everybody has their chips on, right? So that's a lot of hope. It's a whole lot of things that for people to be hoping and praying for. And I say that loosely, but in the senses of the expectation that everything is going to be squared away when this is the third longest. Is that correct? What did I just say? Third longest? third longest shutdown in history. Okay. So this is what to know on day 19. Okay, this article came out yesterday. So we're in day 20 today. What to know on day 19 on the government shutdown. The government shutdown is on day 19 or day 20 at this point, with no end in sight, after senators failed for the 10th time to resolve the impasse in votes on Thursday. Now, that should make you think of, let's get a scripture. Give me 1 second to pull up my scripture. What is that? This is Matthew 12. Matthew 12 and 25. All right. And it reads, and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. So the house of America, right, is divided. Okay. This is the 10th, as the article says. They had a vote just the other day, and it was the 10th time that they couldn't come to a resolution to come into an agreement. That's what that means. They weren't able to resolve their issues. So both sides have not come to an agreement. Here we are still in a government shutdown. That's what's happening. And the scriptures told us that this is what would happen, right? You know, this kingdom, this house is divided. The left hates the right hates the left. Democrats versus Republicans, Republicans versus Democrats. You see, it says this shutdown is now the third longest funding lapse in modern history, eclipsed only by the shutdown of 1995 and 2018 to 2019. Shutdowns are relatively recent in phenomenon, having only begun in their current form in 1980. All right. I'm just reading through this. This is reporting the news. Here we are Monday. We'll see how this week goes. But like I say, this is what really these people are anticipating or expecting, that the government is going to now all of a sudden come to some agreement or resolution between now and the next 12 days. Mind you, they don't work on weekends. So that's take away 4 of those days, right? Which is Saturdays and 2 Saturdays, 2 Sundays, right? Left in the month between now and November, correct? Something like that, right? So right now we're just anticipating the next blow, which is when people do not receive their SNAP benefits. And like I spoke about yesterday and days previous when this was announced, that this is a possibility, and they're quietly announcing this. We're going to hear more announcements of this today. It's Monday, right? Monday morning, they'll start announcing more and more of these delays on replenishing your benefits, right? And there's already fear in the hearts of mainly women, right? Some video I think I saved and that I'll probably upload. There's some woman already talking about, oh, if my benefits don't refill, I'm going to go into the store and I'm going to get all the items I'm going to get. And when I swipe my card and it don't say no funds, insufficient funds, I'm going to push my MF cart out the store. And I dare one of y'all. That's just how they're talking. That's how they're talking. See, when it comes down to it, one thing about women is majority, if not all, in reality. I'm not saying all. There's a small number, which is a very small number, because this number is very small amongst men as well, have self-discipline over their stomach. This is why most women, especially black women, are have a greater chance of being obese than ever being in fit, because they have no control over hand to mouth. They just graze. Okay? And that's what most of these people do, specifically these women. These women graze. They eat all goddamn day. So what you think their fear is already, hey, I'm gonna feed my children. They saying that, but really they thinking about how the fuck they gonna feed themselves. All right, Senator Majority Leader John Thurn, all right, sent the upper chamber home for the weekend after Thursday's votes, meaning the funding lapse will continue until at least Monday. The House has been out of session since September 19th with no plans of returning until the shutdown is over. See? More and more things are being shut down, being sent home. Okay? Thurn's office said on Thursday that he will bring up a bill next week that would pay federal employees and military service members who have continued to work during the shutdown. But passing the legislation would require help from Democrats who blocked a long-term defense spending bill from advancing. The agency that oversees the nation's nuclear weapon stockpile told a top GOP lawmaker that it plans to furlough 80% of its staff in the coming days to address a funding shortage. 80%. These are not employees that you want to go home, says Rep. Mike Rogers of Alabama, the chairman of House Armed Service Committee. Okay? So see, let's get that in the scriptures as well too. As this thing continues to shut more and more down, more and more things will have to shut down, shut off, go untouched, so to speak. Let's get this. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12:1, and it says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. And that's for us, see us, specifically us men, but also the sisters as well, the few that are there that are sincerely waking up to this truth. When we heard this truth at whatever moment or wherever our life was, we turned back to the Lord, right? Because see, the thing about it is that within this walk of yours or ours, I will say, you have to build up the momentum in your faith and in your personal strength to deal with what's to come. That's why it's good to jump to this as quick as possible versus, oh, I'm just going to put it off. You got to build momentum. You got to build your strength. You got to build your faith. All right. Before the evil days come. All right. Now we're in those evil days. That's why this truth is about to explode. See, because a lot of the things that you people have been ignoring and acting like is not happening is literally happening right before your face. You can't deny it anymore. All right. All right. Let's keep going. All right. It says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. All right. In the day, hold on real quick. All right. It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. Now, who are the keepers of the house? That's your economist. Mainly that's these individuals, these federal employees, these federal workers are the keepers of the house. All right. That's what do you think they're doing? They're actual employees of the federal government, right? Your TSA workers, your military, your economists, all of these different elements work in alliance with the federal government, because that's where they get their paycheck from, right? And most of them are being sent home, being fired, being let go, you know, and so on and so forth. Okay? So it says, in the days when the keepers of the house, your economist, Okomio, housekeeping, literally economy goes into housekeeping. Okay? Yeah, your essential workers, you know, they're minimizing this. All right? And it says that, like I said, now a major employee of the federal government is your economist. Your economists are the ones that are advising Trump and all of these different people on what should be done, what shouldn't be done. You know, they're talking to the Federal Reserve people, you know, creating interest rates, dropping interest rates, increase whatever is needed. They're the ones that's trembling. They're the ones that see the system failing. Okay? Now it says, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. What is the grinding? That's the work. See, when you go back and you watch those maybe old cartoons, then you know them old Tom and Jerry style cartoons, or you know, just in general, they'll show you different clips of like, you know, of a warehouse or a factory. And they show you the conveyor belt, and it's always the gears grinding, the gears interlocking with one another, so that, you know, as they interlock, they push each other forward to create motion. Motion creates the product. You get what I'm saying? It all goes hand in hand. The grinding is ceasing. That's what I'm speaking to. Okay? Just because around you, you see all of this pavement work, pavers and construction workers and all this extra shit, that is all an illusion in your face. See, even where I'm sitting at right now, downtown Atlanta, there's all these construction workers, there's all these cranes in the sky, it's all these skyscrapers being built up. But right down the street from it is your federal employees are being laid off. All right, being furloughed, being told that they may not even get back pay. This is where we are, okay? And you're expecting, again, like I say, within the next 11 to 13 days, minus weekends, that the federal government is going to, hold on real quick. All right, so like, you know, on the job, probably not gonna make this too much longer anyway. But let me get this article back up. All right. So let's go back to this article dealing with the government shutdown. Now, this is another article from the 17th. So this would have been, what, Friday, right? And it says the Supreme Court is expected to run out of federal funding on Saturday. All right. So just Saturday that just passed, the Supreme Court, all right, ran out of federal funding. Okay. According to Patricia McCabe, the court's public information officer, let's see. Information officer, without new money appropriated by Congress, the High Court is expected to make changes in its operation to comply with the Anti-Deficiency Act, which is what the SNAP benefit issue falls under. They're not able to spend money that they don't have. See, that money gets released from the federal government, given to the states to then give to its recipients. All right. But the states don't have X amount of how many millions or millions of dollars or whatever it is to just give to its recipients in its state. That's not how that works. So again, this is in place because the government is $30 trillion in debt. Okay. The government is in trillions of dollars of debt. Okay? And everybody's simplistic response to it is, oh, well, just cut the printers on, print more. That's the problem that's got us in this situation. See, there was a thing maybe a lot of people may not understand. Going back to the government recession, or the economic recession of 2008, you had a term called quantitative easing. What is that? That was when the Federal Reserve, all right, which the Federal Reserve is as much of a federal government agency as FedEx is, all right? It's a private business that makes money off of the people, printing money, changing interest rates, and so on and so forth. So they had they were printing money. Like, they were inserting billions and billions of dollars into the economy monthly. But now you have a thing called quantitative restricting, because what happens when you just print all of this extra money? It loses value. It loses value. That's why we're dealing with inflation. Inflation is simply the value of money in your pocket is less. Okay? It's too much money in flow for it to hold any value. Okay? So they're doing quantitative restriction, which is them removing money out of the system. But it's too late. See, all of this volatility, and it's like, think about a rubber band, right? You pull that rubber band as far as you can. It might hold a level of elasticity, but it's not going to hold the same elasticity of what it was prior to you deciding to pull it as far out as you possibly can. That's the American economy. It's you've restricted it. You've opened it up, strict. All of that is it's out of whack. All right. Hey, really, this horse box has just been basically stretched the fuck out. I know that sounds rough, but really, Babylon the Great is likened unto a whore, and this whore has been getting splashed by everybody, and now economically it's dried out. Okay. Yeah, in 2024, U.S. retailers closed 7,325 stores, the highest number since 2020. Major contributors to this figure include Family Dollar, Big Lot, and 99-cent only stores, which accounted for the largest share of closures. Yeah, these stores, because see, those stores were created off of the imprint of buying goods extremely cheap and selling them at a extremely cheap price as well. Buy for a penny, sell for a nickel. Buy for a nickel, sell for a dime. But these same items that you're selling for a nickel are now the price of a quarter. You can't survive that. Just as much as even with this whole SNAP benefit situation, a lot of these companies are not going to survive. These same stores you could spend SNAP benefits at, right? Family Dollar, Big Lot, these stores you could, maybe not, they have food. Of course, you can't go in Big Lot and go buy a couch. But nevertheless, these stores definitely accepted EBT. So again, what do you think these stores are going to do when, if 2 months go by, 3 months go by, at a minimum, or it just completely goes away with, and that's millions. Let's look that up real quick. Let's see. I'm curious now. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Bear me 1 second. Let's see something. Listen to this. So AI says, I asked how many millions of dollars are within the SNAP program, right? So AI says in the fiscal year of 2024, that means from October of 2024 to October of 2025, right? The federal government spent over $100 billion on the SNAP program, with about 93.8 billion going to monthly benefits and the rest covering administrative expenses and nutritional education. The total is down from the previous years, but still represents a significant portion of federal spending on social welfare programs, serving over 41 million participants. Woo! Come on, man. I knew the over 40 million people received SNAP benefits, but I guess I had no clue that it was over $100 billion. All right. Phew. Let's see what this is. This is from the USDA.com. And it says the supplemental nutrition assistant program, SNAP, is the nation's largest nutrition assistance program, accounting for about 70% of the USDA nutrition assistant spending in the fiscal year of 2024, excluding spending on summer electronic benefit transfer for children programs, also known as summer EBT or Sunbucks. So in 2024, 70% of all of the funding went to SNAP as far as nutrition. Then you have children nutrition programs, which is another thing that we're not speaking on, where 20% of the funding goes to. You got WIC, all right, women, infant, children, or something like that. And there's another 4.6 programs. It says in 2024, SNAP served an average of 41.7 million participants per month. Federal SNAP spending totaled 99.8 billion in benefits, average $187.20 per participant per month. Okay. All right. So let's get some more scriptures. What is that? What is that? Hold on real quick. All right, this is Revelation 12:14, and it says, unto the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into a place where she is nourished for a time and a times and half a time from the face of the serpent. So again, there was a time, as the scripture here is focusing in on, that this devil would take care of you people, specifically you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you Israelites. This is where all the programs and all of these different things, making sure you get food assistance, cash assistance, home assistance, healthcare assistance, you name it. These programs have been here specifically for you women. All right. Specifically for you women. All right. That's why the vintage is failing. See, a lot of men have never really been able to get these programs. These programs have all been there for the benefit of women and children. But now that time is coming to an end. You're not being nourished. You're being cut off. That's why these people's first response to these changes is not to have faith. It's the resort to violence and crime, not being resourceful, not having patience, because there's a lack of patience. Okay. So again, I'm about to close up here. Like I said, I really just wanted to hit this article, and it was really 2 articles speaking on the fact that, you know, oh, matter of fact, did I finish it? I ran into that. Let's go to the other one. Yeah, that was pretty much it. It says this. Oh, let me finish it off. It's a few more statements. It says the Supreme Court buildings will be closed to the public until further notice. She said it will, however, stay open for official business. The Supreme Court will continue to conduct essential work such as hearing oral arguments, oral arguments, issuing orders and opinions, processing case files, and providing police and building support needed for those operations, McCabe said. So again, you even got this, the Supreme Court, all right, is basically taking hits. So if you're not important to the operation of the Supreme Court and its rulings, take your ass home. That's what all of this is about. And I'm gonna close up here and say, like I said, I work down here by the federal buildings, and we were having an event, and one of the ladies, beautiful Jake woman, she probably wouldn't have been in this attitude or this humble mode June, July. But now she was basically pleading, begging for entry into a lot because she didn't have the money, because she was a federal employee and she's on furlough. So she didn't even have the money, okay? And that's what I said weeks ago. A lot of these federal employees are women. This year has been a knock to women. But women will continue to keep that pride, keep that arrogancy, you know, say that they don't need a man, say that they don't need nobody, and they're just going to continue to flop. They're just going to realize that they're a fish out of water. All right. So again, I just want to hit these points, reporting on, hey, it's a new week. All right. Let's just see what happens over the next 10, 11 days. Because according to the people, a solution needs to be had within the next 8 to 10 days for everybody's stuff to be processed. All right. So with that, I'm gonna close this up. I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Rokai Kodash, Shalom.